Imagine for a moment that you are standing on the shore of the ocean. The waves roll on the sand, retreat, and return again. You can stand there for hours, pushing the water with your hands, trying to get the ocean to move in the direction you want. You can spend all your energy, all your time, all your effort, and nothing will change. The ocean will continue its eternal dance, completely indifferent to your attempts to control it. But there is another way. You can enter the water, feel its rhythm, synchronize with its movement, and suddenly you are no longer fighting the ocean, you become part of it. You're swimming, easily, naturally. The quantum field works on the same principle. It does not respond to your efforts. It does not respond to your struggle. It does not hear your screams, your despair, your attempts to control reality by force of will. The quantum field responds to coherence, for harmony, on an inner state that resonates with the reality you want to create. What does this really mean? This means that everything you've been taught about achieving goals, about success, about how to get what you want, all this needs to be radically rethought. We were brought up in the paradigm of effort. Work harder, try harder, never give up, run faster, push harder. And yes, these principles work in the material world, in the world of Newtonian physics, where cause always precedes effect, where more effort produces more results. But the quantum world functions according to different laws. In the quantum field, the future affects the present in the same way as the past. In a quantum field, an observer changes what he observes. In the quantum field, everything exists simultaneously, all possibilities, all options, all versions of your life. And which of these possibilities will manifest itself in your reality depends not on how hard you push, but on how coherent your inner state is. Coherence is when your heart and your brain beat in unison, when your thoughts and your emotions move in the same direction, when what you think, what you feel, and what you do are the same song performed on different instruments. Most people live in a state of internal chaos. They think one thing, feel another, and do a third. Their brain sends one signal into the quantum field, their heart another, and their body a third. And the quantum field receives this chaotic noise, these conflicting messages, and just doesn't know what to react to. Imagine a radio station trying to broadcast 3 different songs at the same time on the same frequency. What will you hear? Noise, statics, an incomprehensible cacophony of sounds. Now imagine that this radio station broadcasts one pure note, clear, powerful, unambiguous. This note flies through the ether, overcomes any obstacles, reaches every receiver that is tuned to its frequency. That's what coherence is. That's why it works. When you are coherent, you become an antenna that broadcasts a clear signal into a quantum field. You become a magnet that attracts relevant events, people, circumstances. You become a creator who consciously shapes your reality, not because of effort, not because of struggle, through alignment, through settings, through inner harmony. But here's what's interesting, and that's the most important part that most people don't understand. Coherence cannot be faked. You can't think positive thoughts when fear is raging inside you. You can't visualize wealth when every cell in your body vibrates at the poverty frequency. The quantum field reads your true state, not your superficial attempts to appear to be something else. That is why so many people are disappointed in visualization techniques, affirmations, the law of attraction. They do everything right on the surface. They repeat positive phrases, imagine the desired future, create visualization boards, but their inner state remains the same. They still feel insufficient. They still live in fear. They're still waiting for the outside world to give them permission to be happy. Real transformation starts from within. It starts from the moment you stop waiting and start being, when you stop trying and start implementing, when you stop wanting and start radiating. Let's talk about the heart, not about the muscle that pumps blood through your body, although it is also amazing. Let's talk about the heart as an energy center, as a powerful electromagnetic generator, as an organ whose field is 5,000 times stronger than the brain field. Science has measured this. This is not esotericism, not fantasy. This is a fact confirmed by modern devices. When you feel true gratitude, when you immerse yourself in deep love, when you experience sincere joy, your heart generates a coherent electromagnetic field. This field goes beyond your body. It affects the people around you. It interacts with the quantum field. And that's where the magic begins. The quantum field is not something distant, not something separate from you. You are immersed in it every moment of your existence. Every part of your body was born in this field. Every thought you think creates ripples on its surface. You can't be out of the quantum field, just like a fish can't be out of water. The only question is whether you consciously interact with this field or just go with the flow, reacting to what the waves bring. Most people live in response mode. Something happens, they react. Something else is happening, they react again. Their internal state depends entirely on external circumstances. They are happy when everything is fine and unhappy when things go wrong. They are victims of their reality, not its creators. But you can live differently. You can turn this model upside down. You can first create an internal state and then watch how the external reality begins to reflect this state. This is not faith. This is physics. Quantum physics, which shows us that consciousness is primary, that the observer is inseparable from the observed, that your attention literally collapses the wave function, turning pure possibilities into a concrete reality. Every morning when you wake up, you have a choice. You can let your brain automatically run the same programs as yesterday, the same thoughts, the same emotions, the same reactions. Your brain loves predictability. He wants to save energy. He wants to do what he already knows. And if you don't intervene consciously, it will recreate yesterday over and over again. And since your thoughts create your reality, you will live in the same day again and again. Or you can do something radical. You can stop, close your eyes, calm the noise of the mind, let go of the past, let go of the future. Entering the present moment is the only place where the quantum field is fully available to you. And in this silence, in this immobility, you can consciously choose your state. You can decide who you want to be today. What emotions do you want to radiate? What frequency do you want to broadcast? It's not easy. Your brain will resist. Your body will demand familiar emotions, even if those emotions make you unhappy. Yes, your body is used to a certain chemical cocktail, to certain hormones and neurotransmitters. It has become dependent on stress, anxiety, and fear. And when you try to change this chemical balance, the body protests. It sends signals to the brain. Something is wrong. Return everything to the way it was. It is dangerous. But this is not dangerous. This is transformation. This is the birth of a new version of you. And every time you consciously choose a new state, when you refuse to obey old programs, when you remain in coherence despite internal resistance, you reprogram your brain. You create new neural connections. You literally become a different person. Neuroplasticity is another gift of modern science. We now know that the brain is not fixed. It changes throughout life. Every thought you think either strengthens existing neural pathways or creates new ones. If you think the same thoughts over and over again, these paths become superhighways, fast, efficient, automatic. But if you start thinking new thoughts, if you consciously direct your attention in new directions, you are laying new paths in the jungle of your brain. At first, these paths are narrow and uncomfortable. It is difficult to follow them. Your brain is constantly trying to get you back on the familiar freeway. But if you're persistent, if you keep walking these new trails day after day, they expand. They become lighter. And one day you wake up and realize that new thoughts, new emotions, new reactions have become your new normal. The old highway is overgrown with grass, and the new one becomes your main route. Now, let's put it all together. Your brain shapes your thoughts. Your thoughts evoke certain emotions. Your emotions create your body chemistry. Your body chemistry affects your heart. Your heart generates an electromagnetic field. This field interacts with a quantum field, and the quantum field responds, collapsing certain possibilities into your reality. Everything is connected. Everything is one. You are not a separate being who exists in a separate universe. You are part of a huge interconnected network, a dancer in a space ballet, where every movement affects the entire composition. When you truly understand this, not intellectually, but with your whole being, your life changes forever. You can no longer look at yourself as a victim of circumstances. You can no longer blame the outside world for your problems. You see that everything that is in your life, everything without exception, is a reflection of your inner state. And this is both the greatest responsibility and the greatest freedom. Think about it. If your reality is a reflection of you, then you have absolute power over your life. You don't need to change other people. You don't have to deal with circumstances. You don't have to wait for anything to change. You only need to change yourself, your condition, its frequency, its coherence. And here's the paradox. When you stop trying to change the outside world, it begins to change itself. When you let go of the effort, the results come more easily. When you trust the process speeds up. This is not logical from the point of view of the old paradigm, but this is completely logical from the point of view of quantum physics. Remember Heisenberg's uncertainty principle. The more accurately you try to measure one property of a particle, the less accurate the other property becomes. The harder you squeeze, the more it slips away. The universe does not like excessive control. He loves lightness. He loves the flow. He loves the game. Now think about your life. When was the last time you really played? When was the last time you did something simply because it brought joy, without a goal, without a result, without trying to achieve something? Children are constantly in this state. They're not trying to be happy. They're just happy. They don't visualize the future. They're completely immersed in the present. And that is why the quantum field responds so easily to children. They are coherent without effort. As we grow older, we lose this natural coherence. We're taught to plan, to worry, to control. We are taught that life is a serious matter, that you have to work hard, that success requires sacrifices. And we learn these lessons so well that we completely forget how easy it is to be, how easy it is to rejoice, how easy it is to trust life. Meditation is not an escape from reality. Meditation is a return to the real self, to the part of you that existed, to all the programs, to all the fears, to all the limitations, to pure consciousness, which is your true nature. When you sit in silence, when you let go of thoughts, when you immerse yourself in the space between thoughts, You touch the quantum field directly. You become one with the source of all existence. There is no time in this state. There is no space. There is no you as a separate person. There is only pure potentiality, pure awareness, pure being. And when you return from this state to your ordinary life, you carry its quality with you. You bring peace in the midst of chaos. You bring clarity in the midst of confusion. You carry love in the midst of fear. People ask, how long does it take to see results? And this very question shows that they have not yet understood the essence. Because when you ask about results, you're still in the old paradigm. You are still waiting for the outside world to confirm your inner state. You are still addicted to the results. The real transformation happens when you don't care when the results come. When you meditate not for something, but simply because it is the most natural way of being. When your inner state no longer depends on what happens outside. When you're so full from the inside that you don't need anything from the outside. And here's the irony. It is at this moment that the results begin to come. Not because you earned them through your efforts, but because you have finally stopped blocking them with your desire. Desire is a signal of absence. When you want something, you broadcast a message into the quantum field. I don't have that. And the quantum field obediently answers. You don't have that. But when you're overwhelmed with gratitude for what's already there, when you're celebrating your life as if all your dreams have already come true, when your heart is beating to the rhythm of gratitude, you're broadcasting a completely different message. You say to the universe, I feel so good. I am so blessed. My life is so beautiful. And the quantum field answers, yes, your life is beautiful. Here's even more beauty for you. This is not positive thinking. These are not affirmations. It's a deep, cellular knowledge that you're already whole, that you're already complete, that you're not really lacking anything. When you reach this state, and this is a state, not a goal, everything changes. Your relationship changes. Your health changes. Your financial situation is changing. Not because you did something differently, but because you have become different. People who have had so-called spontaneous healing experiences describe the same phenomenon. They say, I just knew I was healthy. He didn't hope. He didn't believe. He didn't want to. He knew. This knowledge was absolute, indisputable, total. And at the moment of this knowledge, the disease simply disappeared. The body followed consciousness. Matter followed spirit. Your body is constantly renewed. Every few months, you actually have a new body, new cells, new atoms, a new structure. But why do diseases remain? Why do old patterns repeat themselves? Because the pattern remains the same. Your consciousness holds an old image, an old project, an old program, and your body obediently reproduces it over and over again. Change consciousness, and the body will begin to build according to a new project. This is not a miracle. This is biology. This is physics. This is how reality actually works when you look at it deeply enough. Quantum experiments have shown us something amazing. Particles don't have a defined state until someone observes them. They exist as clouds of possibilities, as potentials, as mathematical functions. And only the act of observation collapses these possibilities into a concrete reality. Your attention is the force that turns the possible into the real. Where is your attention directed right now? What are you looking at? What are you thinking about? What do you feel? Every moment you collapse quantum possibilities with your attention. Every moment you choose one reality from an endless ocean of potential realities. And most people make this choice unconsciously. They wake up in the morning and their attention is automatically directed to problems. on what is missing, on what could go wrong. They read the news and fill their minds with fear. They scroll through social networks and compare themselves with others. They live in a constant state of reaction to external stimuli, and then they wonder why their lives don't change. But you can choose otherwise. You can wake up and consciously direct your attention to what you are grateful for, on what is beautiful in your life, on who you want to become. You can spend the first minutes of the day meditating, tuning your instrument before you start playing. And this little practice, this little investment of time, can change everything. Morning meditation is not about feeling good. It's about consciously choosing your condition for the whole day. It's about laying a foundation of coherence on which to build. When you start the day in coherence, it's easier for you to stay in it throughout the day. When you start the day in chaos, you spend the whole day trying to get out of the hole. Evening meditation is just as important. It allows you to process everything that happened during the day, release tension, restore coherence before bedtime. And when you fall asleep in a coherent state, your subconscious works for you all night. It integrates new patterns. It strengthens new neural pathways. It prepares you for tomorrow. Sleep is not just rest for the body. Sleep is a time when your consciousness plunges deep into the quantum field. When you sleep, your personality fades into the background and you return to the source. Therefore, it is so important with what thoughts and feelings you fall asleep. You carry them into the depths, and from there they shape your next day. Have you noticed that the days when you wake up with a negative mood usually continue in a negative way? And the days when you wake up with joy usually bring joyful events? This is not a coincidence. This is quantum mechanics in action. Your morning state determines what opportunities you collapse during the day. Therefore, the first and last minutes of your day are the most valuable. They're the gateway to the quantum field. They're the moments when you have the greatest impact on your reality. Use them wisely. Let's talk about emotions. Emotions are not just sensations. Emotions are energy in motion. The word emotion comes from the Latin emovere, to move, to set in motion. Your emotions literally move the energy inside and around you. They create waves that propagate into the quantum field. Low-frequency emotions, fear, guilt, shame, anger, create chaotic, disharmonious waves. They fragment your field. They separate you from the source. They literally narrow your reality, limiting the range of possibilities you can collapse. High-frequency emotions, love, joy, gratitude, inspiration, create coherent, harmonious waves. They unite your field. They connect you to the source. They expand your reality, opening up access to more opportunities. This is not a metaphor. It can be measured. When a person experiences coherent emotions, their heart rate becomes more orderly. Her brain waves are synchronized. Her immune system is activated. Her body literally functions better. When a person experiences chaotic emotions, all this happens the other way around. The heart rhythm becomes irregular. Brain waves are desynchronized. The immune system is suppressed. The body begins to break down. Stress kills. This is not an exaggeration. Chronic stress is a chronic, incoherent field. And in such a field, the body cannot recover. Cells cannot regenerate. Diseases get the green light, but you have the power to change it. At any time, you can choose a different emotion. Yes, even in the middle of a stressful situation. You can pause, take a few deep breaths, transfer attention to the heart. Remember the moment when you felt true gratitude, and linger in this feeling long enough for your physiology to begin to change. This is not an escape from reality. It is a conscious creation of reality. You don't deny the problem. You choose from what state you want to solve it. And the decisions that come from the state of coherence are always better than the decisions that come from the state of chaos. Do you know why most people make bad decisions? Because they take them when they are in a reactive state, when they are scared, angry, desperate. In such conditions, the brain works in survival mode. He sees threats everywhere. It narrows the focus. He cannot think creatively or strategically. But when you make decisions from a state of coherence, everything changes. You see the bigger picture. You have access to intuition. You feel which way is right, even if you can't explain why. And these decisions lead you to better results, not through effort, but through alignment. Let's talk about intuition. What is intuition really? This is not magic. This is not the sixth sense. It's a connection to the quantum field that becomes possible when your mind goes silent enough to hear subtler signals. The quantum field contains information about all possibilities, about everything that can happen. And when you're coherent, when your inner silence is deep enough, you can get glimpses of that information. Sudden knowledge, foreboding, a feeling that says, do it, or don't go there, or call that person. How many times have you ignored such feelings and then regretted it? How many times has your intuition been right and you haven't listened? This is because we were brought up not to trust ourselves. We were taught that only logic is real, only facts, only what can be seen and touched. But quantum physics shows us that the invisible is primary. That information is more fundamental than matter. Your intuition is your personal channel of communication with the quantum field. Develop it. Trust him. Practice listening for subtle signals. Over time, this voice will become louder, clearer, more precise. And you will begin to live a life that flows, not fights. Now let's talk about how to put all this into practice. How to move from understanding to transformation, from theory to experience. The first step is awareness. Start observing yourself according to his thoughts, by your emotions, according to their reactions. Not judging, not trying to change, just watching. Witness your own life. Notice when you enter an incoherent state. Notice what causes these conditions. Notice how your body reacts. This simple observation is already starting to change you. Because when you watch yourself, you separate yourself from your automatic programs. You cease to be them. You become the one who sees them. And in this interval between the stimulus and the response, there is room for choice. The second step is practice. Daily meditation. Not from time to time, not when there is time, not when you remember, daily. Like brushing your teeth, like food, like a dream. Your brain needs this practice to rebuild. Your body needs this practice to unlearn old emotional patterns. Your consciousness needs this practice to strengthen the connection with the quantum field. Start small. 5 minutes in the morning, 5 minutes in the evening. Just sit down. Just breathe. Just let thoughts come and go without clinging to them. Increase the duration over time. Deepen your practice. Add visualization. Work with the heart. Cultivation of sublime emotions. The third step is to apply throughout the day. Meditation on a pillow is a workout, but real practice is life. Every time you notice that you are out of coherence, pause. Take a few deep breaths. Bring attention back to your heart. Choose consciously how you want to respond to this situation. At first, you will rarely notice it. Then more often. Then even more often. And one day, you will suddenly realize that coherence has become your natural state and not what you achieve through effort. The fourth step is patience. You didn't become who you are overnight. Your neural pathways have been formed over the years. Your emotional patterns have been ingrained for decades. Don't expect everything to change in a week or in a month. This is a marathon, not a sprint. Every day is a little better than yesterday. Each meditation is another step on the way. Each conscious choice is another brick in the foundation of a new you. People want quick results. They want a magic pill, an instant enlightenment, a sudden transformation. And yes, there are such breakthroughs, but they happen against the background of constant, persistent practice. They are the culmination of thousands of small steps. The fifth step is letting go. This is perhaps the hardest. Release the results. Release the timeline. Let go of control. Trust the process. Trust the quantum field, knowing that everything you need is already on its way to you. And it's only your job to be willing to accept it. Letting go is not passivity. This is not an action. This is active trust. It is to do everything in your power and then let go of the results. It's planting seeds and letting the sun and rain do their job. You can't make a seed grow faster by pushing it, but you can create optimal conditions and then wait patiently. Your coherence is these optimal conditions. Your gratitude is nutritious soil. Your visualization is sunlight. Your faith is water. And the results are the harvest that comes in due time. Do you know what prevents people from transforming the most? There is no shortage of information. There is no shortage of tools. There is no shortage of opportunities. They are hindered by their habit of suffering. They are so used to being unhappy that happiness is uncomfortable for them. They are so used to drama that peace seems boring. They are so used to restrictions that freedom scares them. The body wants a familiar, even if the familiar is pain, even if the familiar destroys. The body will resist any change because change is unpredictable and unpredictability is a potential threat. To truly transform, you will have to step out of your comfort zone not once, but every day. You will have to feel the discomfort of new emotions. You will have to endure the protest of the body. You will have to remain conscious when everything in you screams, return to the way it was. That's why so few people truly change. Not because they don't want to, not because they don't know how, but because they give up when it gets uncomfortable. They interpret discomfort as a sign that something is wrong, instead of seeing it as a sign that everything is going right. Discomfort is the price of entry. This is the price for a new life. And anyone who has ever really transformed will tell you the same thing. It was uncomfortable. It was scary. It was unknown, but it was worth every second. Therefore, when you are meditating and your brain is screaming, get up. You have important things to do. Stay. When your body requires the familiar emotion of anxiety, choose calm. When your thoughts convince you that all this is not working, keep going. The quantum field responds to coherence, not for effort, not for trying, not to fight, on coherence. And coherence is not something you do. This is what you become. Become coherence. Become peace in the midst of chaos. Become love in the midst of fear. Become a signal that pierces the noise. And watch your reality begin to dance to your tune. You're not a small person in a big universe. You are a part of the universe that is self-aware. You're the way in which the cosmos knows itself. And when you really comprehend it, the boundaries between you and the quantum field dissolve. Because they never existed. You have always been a field. You have always been an opportunity. You have always been a creator. You just forgot. And meditation, coherence, practice is not the way to something new. This is the way home, to who you have always been. Imagine that your consciousness is a spotlight. Where you direct this spotlight, their reality appears. In the darkness of infinite possibilities, your attention illuminates only a tiny part, and that part becomes your life. The rest remains in the shadows, invisible, unmanifested, but still existing. Most people keep their spotlight pointed at the same place for the rest of their lives, on the same problems, on the same fears, on the same restrictions. They illuminate the familiar again and again, and wonder why they do not see anything new. But the spotlight is movable. You can return it at any time. You can illuminate other possibilities, other realities, other versions of yourself. The only question is, do you have the courage to look into the dark? The darkness is frightening. The unknown is frightening. We are programmed to be afraid of what we don't know. Our ancestors survived by staying close to the hearth, not climbing too far into the night where predators were watching. This fear is encoded in our DNA, and it is activated every time we approach the edge of the familiar. But here's what you need to understand. What you're most afraid of, the unknown, is exactly where all your possibilities reside. Everything new comes from the unknown. Every innovation, every discovery, every transformation is a step into the darkness that brought light. When you meditate and enter that space of pure potentiality, you literally enter the unknown. You let go of a familiar personality, familiar thoughts, familiar emotions, and you find yourself in a place where nothing is yet determined. This can be disorienting. It can be intimidating, but it's also the most powerful place you can be in, because that's where you can choose anything. That's where all the doors are open. It is there that you're not limited by the past, not bound by old patterns, not defined by who you were up to this point. People say, I want change, but they do not want to enter the unknown. They want changes that feel safe. They want a new one that looks familiar. They want transformation without discomfort. But this is impossible. It's like wanting a butterfly, not allowing the caterpillar to dissolve into a cocoon. Yes, dissolve. The caterpillar does not just grow wings. It completely breaks down into a cellular soup inside the cocoon. Its old form disappears completely. And from this chaos, from this formlessness, a completely new being is born. The butterfly does not remember how to be a caterpillar. It does not crawl trying to fly. It just flies. Your transformation requires the same. Ready to let go of the old form. Ready to enter the chaos of the unknown. Willingness to trust the process, even when it seems that you are falling apart. And here's what's interesting. This decay, this dissolution, this dying off of the old, this is not a tragedy. This is a necessary condition for the birth of a new one. You cannot fill a cup that is already full. You cannot burn a new song to a disc that is already occupied. First, you need to free up space. Many people come to meditation with the idea that they will add something to their lives. New abilities, new opportunities, new achievements. But true meditation is first and foremost subtraction. It is letting go of everything that is not the real you. This is a cleansing of the deposits of programming, conditioning, false beliefs. There's something unchanging underneath all these layers. Pure consciousness that has been watching your whole life, which was present when you were a child, which is present now, which will always be present. This consciousness does not change. She just is, and she is your true nature. When you let go of everything else, thoughts, emotions, identities, roles, all that remains is this pure awareness. And from this place, you can consciously choose what you want to create. What thoughts do you want to think? What emotions do you want to feel? Who you want to be? It's not about becoming someone else. It's about getting back to who you've always been and choosing consciously how to express it in this life. Let's talk about time. Quantum physics tells us amazing things about time. At the quantum level, the difference between the past, present, and future is an illusion. Everything exists at the same time. Linear time is a construct of our limited perception, the way our brain organizes information. When you really enter the meditative state, you go beyond linear time. Minutes can seem like hours. Hours can fly by like seconds. You are touching a dimension where time does not have the power that it has in a normal state of consciousness. And that's why visualization works. When you imagine a future event with sufficient clarity and emotional intensity, your brain cannot distinguish it from a real event. Neural circuits are activated in the same way. The body reacts in the same way. At the quantum level, this event is already happening. But there is a key point that most people miss. Visualization doesn't work because you think about the future. It works because you experience the future in the present. You don't dream of what will happen someday. You feel like it's already there. You live in that reality right at this moment. This is a fundamental difference. Most people visualize from a position of absence. They think, I want to have this. I hope to get it. Someday it will happen. And the quantum field hears, I don't have that. I'm waiting. This is somewhere in the future. But when you enter a state where your future is already your present, everything changes. You don't want health. You feel healthy right now. You don't dream of abundance. You are overwhelmed with gratitude for the abundance that already exists. The quantum field does not understand time the way we do. It responds to frequency, to state, to coherence. And when your state corresponds to the reality you want, the field begins to organize events to match this state. Have you ever noticed that when you're in a bad mood, everything goes wrong? You're late, you get into traffic jams, you meet unpleasant people, you get bad news. And when you're in a great mood, everything turns out perfectly. Green traffic lights, unexpected gifts, pleasant meetings, good news. This is not a coincidence. This is synchronicity. The quantum field responds to your condition. It sends you a reflection of what you radiate. It works flawlessly, automatically, whether you realize it or not. The only question is whether you want to be a conscious creator or an unconscious victim, whether you want to choose your state or let circumstances choose it for you. Reactive life looks like this. Something happens, you react, your state changes. Someone is rude to you, you get angry. Something goes wrong, you get upset. The news is bad, you're anxious. You're a leaf in the wind that tosses back and forth without your consent. Proactive life looks different. You consciously choose your state and then watch how circumstances begin to correspond to it. You decide to be grateful, and suddenly you notice a lot of things to be grateful for. You decide to be calm, and stressful situations stop affecting you. You decide to be in love, and the people around you become kinder. This is not magical thinking. This is quantum mechanics in action. Your consciousness is not a passive observer of reality. Your consciousness is an active creator of reality. And the more you realize this, the more power you have over your life. But power is a responsibility. When you understand that you are the creator of your life, you can no longer blame others. You can no longer be a victim. You can't talk anymore. It's all because of them, because of circumstances, because of bad luck. Everything that is in your life, everything without exception, is a reflection of your inner state. Your thoughts, your beliefs, your emotions. And if you don't like what you see on the outside, the only way to change that is to change what's inside. This may seem difficult. This may seem unfair. Why should I be responsible for everything? Why can't you just be a victim sometimes? But think about it differently. If you're not responsible for your life, then who is responsible? If you don't have power over your reality, then who has? Being a creator is not a burden. It's a gift. This is the greatest freedom that is possible. Freedom from dependence on the outside. Freedom from the expectation that someone or something will make you happy. The freedom to be who you choose to be, no matter the circumstances. And here's the most amazing thing. When you really embark on this path, when you really take responsibility for your reality, it becomes easier for you, not harder. Because you stop fighting with what is. You direct all your energy to the only thing that is really under your control, your inner state. And suddenly you have so much energy. Because how much energy do you spend worrying about the future? Unfortunately, about the past? To try to change other people? To fight reality? All that energy is released when you let go of something you can't control. This energy is your most valuable resource. Call it life force, chi, prana, orgone. The name doesn't matter. It's the same energy that makes your heart beat, your lungs breathe, your cells divide. Is the energy of life itself flowing through you. Most people waste this energy aimlessly, to dramas, to conflicts, to endless inner muttering, to maintain emotional wounds that are long overdue to let go, to feed fears that will never come true, in defense of an ego that does not need protection. But you can learn to conserve that energy, accumulate it, direct it consciously, and when you have enough energy, transformation becomes possible. Because change requires energy. Creating new neural pathways requires energy. Reprogramming the body requires energy. That is why people who are constantly exhausted, constantly stressed, constantly react to external things cannot change. They simply do not have the fuel to transform. All their energy goes to maintaining the status quo. Meditation is not just a relaxation technique. Meditation is a way to store energy. When you sit in silence, when you don't react, when you don't think, you don't waste energy. And it accumulates. She rises. It becomes available for creation. Experienced meditators describe the moment when the accumulated energy becomes enough for a breakthrough. She climbs the spine. It activates higher brain centers. It creates experiences of unity, bliss, transcendence. This is not a hallucination. It is a biological process that occurs when the energy barrier is crossed. And these experiences are not an end in themselves. They change you at the cellular level. They reprogram your brain. They open up access to new ways of perceiving reality. After such an experience, you can no longer be the same. You've seen more. You know more. You are more. But don't expect a big breakthrough. Don't make it a goal. Practice for the sake of practice. Meditate for the sake of meditation. And when the time comes, experience will find you. Not because you earned it through your efforts, but because you have created the conditions in which it can happen. The quantum field responds to coherence, not for effort, not at will, not for trying, on coherence. And every time you sit down to meditate, every time you consciously choose your state, every time you refuse to be a victim of your automatic reactions, you become a little bit more coherent. This coherence accumulates. It becomes your new normal. And one day you realize that you don't have to try to be at peace anymore. You just have peace. There is no need to cultivate love anymore. You just a love. No more searching for meaning. You just make sense. This is not an achievement. It's a comeback to who you always were before the world told you you had to be something else. Let's talk about beliefs. Beliefs are the filters through which you perceive reality. They determine what you see and what you don't see. What do you think is possible and what is impossible? What opportunities do you notice and which ones pass you by? Your beliefs have been formed all your life. From parents, from teachers, from society, from culture. Most of them you didn't even consciously choose. They just entered you like water enters a sponge. And now they work on autopilot, shaping your reality without your conscious involvement. Some beliefs support you. They empower you. They help you grow. But others are restrictive. They narrow your reality. They keep you in a cage, the door of which has long been open. I'm not good enough. Money is evil. Happiness must be earned. The world is dangerous. People cannot be trusted. It is impossible to change. Familia, these and similar beliefs work like apps running in the background. You don't see them, but they determine your every choice. The quantum field does not judge your beliefs. It just responds to them. If you believe that you're not good enough, reality will confirm this again and again. If you believe that there's always not enough money, so be it. If you believe that people are betraying you, they will. This is not a punishment. It's just a mechanism. Your beliefs shape your expectations. Your expectations influence your actions. Your actions create results. And these results confirm the initial beliefs. A vicious circle, a self-fulfilling prophecy. But the circle can be broken. Beliefs can be changed. Not just on the surface, not just intellectually, but at the deep, cellular level, where they really live. The first step is awareness. Start noticing your beliefs. Listen to your inner speech. Pay attention to what you say to yourself when no one is listening. What thoughts come automatically? What stories do you tell yourself? Often, the most harmful beliefs are disguised as facts. It has always been like this. Everyone does that. It's just reality. But these are not facts. These are interpretations. These are conclusions drawn from limited experience, and they can be revised. The second step is interrogation. Take a conviction and ask him a question. Is this absolutely true? Can I be 100% sure that this is the case? Are there people for whom this is not true? Have there been moments in my life when it wasn't true? It is often enough to find one exception for the belief to begin to waver. Because if it is not absolute, then it is not a fact, but a choice. A choice you can change. The third step is replacement. Don't just reject the old belief. Replace it with a new one. The brain does not like emptiness. If you just uninstall the old program without installing a new one, the old one will return. Choose a belief that supports you, which empowers you, which resonates with who you want to be. The fourth step is embodiment. A new conviction should become not just a thought, but an experience. You have to feel in your body. You have to live it emotionally. That's why meditation is so important. In meditation, you can visualize yourself living with a new conviction, to feel what it would be like to allow the body to get used to this new reality. And when you do it enough times, with enough intensity, the new conviction takes root. It becomes the new default program, and your reality begins to reflect it. This is not a quick process. Old beliefs have had years to take hold. They build entire neural freeways. New beliefs are still barely noticeable paths. But every time you consciously choose a new belief, every time you give up the old one, the new path becomes wider and the old one overgrows. And one day you catch yourself thinking automatically in a new way, that the new belief has become as natural as the old one once was, that you have really changed not only from the outside, but also from the inside. Let's talk about the body. The body is not just a shell for the soul. The body is a record of your history. Every emotion that you have ever experienced and did not let go of lives in your body. Every injury, every stress, Every fear is stored in your muscles, in your fascia, in your organs. You may think you've let go of the past. You can intellectually forgive those who have wronged you. You can decide not to be upset anymore because of long-standing events. But if the body did not let go, nothing changed. The emotional charge is still there, waiting, ready to activate at the slightest trigger. That's why people repeat the same relationship patterns. That's why the same emotional reactions pop up over and over again. That is why intellectual understanding rarely leads to real change. Because the body remembers. And as long as it remembers, the past is the present. Meditation allows you to work with the body directly. When you sit in silence, when you stop running away from yourself, everything that has been suppressed begins to rise to the surface. Old emotions, forgotten memories, bodily sensations associated with ancient events. This can be uncomfortable. It can be painful. Some people, when faced with it for the first time, decide that meditation is not for them. They run back to entertainment, to busyness, to anything that will allow you to drown out what rises again. But if you stay, if you let those experiences be without fighting or running away, healing happens. The energy that has been locked in these old patterns is released. What has been locked in the body for years is finally released. And every time you let go of something old, you have room for something new. The energy that was used to support the old wound becomes available for creation. The part of you that was frozen in the past returns to the present. Some traditions call it purification. Others are catharsis. Modern science speaks of the somatic experience of trauma. The names are different, but the process is the same. The body releases what it has been holding. And when the body is free, consciousness is also free. Have you noticed how your posture changes depending on your mood? When you are upset, your shoulders hunch over, your head drops. When you are sure, your chest straightens, your gaze rises. Body and mind are one system. You change one thing, another changes. That is why working with the body is so important for transformation. Yoga, Tai Chi, somatic practices are all ways to free the body from old patterns. And when the body is liberated, consciousness receives new opportunities. Imagine that your body is a tool. Violin. If the strings are stretched unevenly, if the body is deformed, if the bow is bent, what kind of music can you play on it? Limited, fake, incomplete. But if you tune the instrument, if you let go of tension, restore balance, return to its natural form, melodies that you never even dreamed of will suddenly become possible. Your coherence is your attitude. Your ability to transmit a pure signal into a quantum field. And every trapped emotion, every trauma that lives in the body is an obstacle in the way of this signal. Therefore, do not ignore the body. Don't try to transcend it. Don't think that spirituality is just a matter of reason. The body is your ally, your partner. Your home is in this material world, and it deserves the same attention and care as your mind. Breathing is a bridge between the conscious and the unconscious. You can breathe automatically, and you can breathe consciously. This is the only vital function of the body that you can control directly. When you change your breathing, you change your state. Rapid, shallow breathing activates the sympathetic nervous system, fight or flight mode. Slow, deep breathing activates the parasympathetic system, rest and recovery mode. Most people don't breathe properly. Too fast, too superficial, with the chest, not with the belly. They constantly keep their bodies in a state of mild stress, even when there is no real threat. Start breathing consciously, slowly, deeply. Belly, do it right now. Feel the air filling your lungs. How your belly expands as you inhale and contracts as you exhale. How each breath brings energy and each exhalation takes away tension. It's so simple and so powerful. A few minutes of conscious breathing can completely change your condition. They can bring you out of stress and into peace, can interrupt the spiral of negative thoughts. They can bring you back to the present moment. And the present moment is the only place where life takes place. The only place where coherence is possible. The only place where you can interact with the quantum field. The past is a memory in your brain. The future is a representation in your brain. Only the present is real. Only in this moment do you exist. Only in this moment can you change something. But how much time do you spend in the present? If you're honest with yourself, probably very little. Your mind is constantly wandering. Until yesterday's conversation. See you tomorrow. To what was. To what could be. Anywhere, except for what is available now. Meditation is the practice of returning to the present. Over and over again, the thought takes you away. You notice it, you come back. One more thought. If you notice, you come back. This is presence training. Training to be here. And over time, this presence becomes your habit. You begin to live more in the present. Notice more details. To feel more life in every moment. To be truly present in your own existence. When you are present, coherence comes naturally. Because chaos in your field is created precisely by the wandering of the mind. Anxiety about the future. Regret the past. But when you're here, completely, absolutely here, there's no room for chaos. There's only you. It's a breath. It's an instant. The quantum field responds to coherence. And coherence is a byproduct of presence. To be here, to be now, to be complete. That's it. That's the whole secret. Sounds simple, and it's simple, but not easy, because everything in our world pulls you from the present. Phones, messages, news, entertainment. Everything is designed to grab your attention and take it somewhere. Being present in today's world is an act of revolution. This is the most radical thing you can do, and most useful for your health, for your relationship, for your success, for your happiness, for everything. Because happiness does not live in achievement, does not live in the future, doesn't live in what you'll ever get. Happiness lives in the here and now, in this breath, at this point, in this moment of being. And when you really feel it, when you touch that inner source, you don't need anything else. You're already full. You're already whole. You're already home. And from this place, from this fullness, this wholeness, you can create whatever you want. Not out of desperation, not from insufficiency, not out of necessity, and from overflow, out of joy, from pure play. And then creation becomes easy because you're not trying to get something. You're just expressing who you are. You just give. And in this giving, you get more than you could ever take. The quantum field responds to coherence. Become coherence. Become a presence. Become love. And watch the universe dance with you.